Alrighty, so here's the second part of our notes for 1.3, midpoint and distance. Today we're going to focus on midpoint. So you'll see right here our midpoint formula. Now essentially what midpoint is we are going to take 2 points. I will call my points A and B. And I want to find the midpoint or the halfway point between them. And that's going to come as a point XY. Alright? So what we're going to be given here, as you see, is we're going to be given 2 points. Points come in the form x comma y, and just like what we did with distance, we're going to do the same thing again with labeling them x1, y1, x2, and y2. You're going to put them into the formula, and it's going to come out again as a point, x comma y. You're going to add your x's, divide by 2, add your y's, divide by 2. That's how you're going to get your new x and your new y. Alright, let's get started. So here's the first example. We're going to use the formula above to find the midpoint. So I'm going to first, as I said, label them x1 and y1, x2 and y2. Now I'm going to plug them in the formula. So x1 plus x2, so it's going to give me 7 plus 9. And I'm going to divide that by 2, comma. Now for my y's, negative 5 minus 1 divided by 2. Okay, again, I'm going to simplify that. 9 plus 7 is going to give me 16 over 2, comma. Negative 5 minus 1 is going to give me negative 6 divided by 2. All right, almost done. We've got to simplify one more time. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. So the halfway point between G and H is going to be 8, negative 3. All right, let's try another one. Once again, labeling it x1 and y1, x2 and y2. All right, let's plug them in the formula. X is first, so negative 7 plus 3 over 2. And our next one is going to be 4 plus negative 4 over 2. All right, let's simplify. Negative 7 plus 3 is going to be negative 4 over 2. 4 plus negative 4 is going to be 0 over 2. Once again, simplify those fractions. Negative 4 divided by 2 is going to be negative 2. 0 divided by anything is just 0. So our midpoint is negative 2, 0. Alrighty, moving on to number 6. Now number 6 is a little bit different. It's saying, hey, I'm giving you the starting and the midpoint. Find that endpoint. So there's 2 different ways to do this. I'm going to show the first way here on 6, the algebraic way, and then I'm going to show you the visual way here on 7. Alright, so let's do the algebraic way here on 6, so as visually as I can. I'll show you what they're asking here. So my midpoint here is negative 1, 2. The end point, we'll call that A, has a coordinate of 3, negative 5, and I want to find this other end point B. I don't know what that is, so I'm going to label XY. So now we're going to break it up into our x's and our y's, and we're just going to solve. So looking back at our formula, we added our x's, divided by 2, that got us our midpoint. So if we're looking for our x coordinate, I'm going to add my endpoint x, oops, that's 3, my endpoint x, plus my other endpoint, I don't know, divided by 2, will give me my midpoint x of negative 1. Solve it, we're going to multiply by 2 on both sides. That'll give me 3x, 3 plus x, equals negative 2, minus 3. So that will give me x is equal to negative 5. So that's my x coordinate. I'm going to do the same thing with y. So I'm going to do my y endpoint, that's negative 5, plus I don't know my other endpoint, divided by 2 is equal to my y endpoint, or y midpoint. Again, solve, so multiply by 2 on both sides. So that gives me negative 5 plus y equals 4. Add 5 to both sides, so my y is going to be 9. I'm going to write my final answer here in red. My x-coordinate is negative 5. My y-coordinate is 9. That is my final answer. Now again, that is for the algebra-heavy concept. There is another way to do this that's visual. Okay, so let's walk through 7 visually. All right. So again, I'm going to draw it here. Okay, K is the midpoint, so that's negative 5, 10. My end point is going to be negative 8, 6. Doesn't really matter where you put that. And I'm looking for this point here, J, which is going to be x, comma, y. So the way people think of this is they say, okay, visually, looking at just my x's, from negative 8 to negative 5, I added 3. So I'm going to have to add 3 again to get to that final x point. So negative 5 plus 3 is going to give me an x value of negative 2. Now let's do that for our y coordinate. I'm going to do that in purple. So I'm starting at 6 and going to my y coordinate of 10. That means I added 4. If I added 4 here, I have to add 4 again going to here. 10 plus 4 is going to give me my y coordinate of 14. Many kids love this version because it's very visual. It makes sense, right? We're going halfway, so that means I have to go halfway again. Fantastic. If you're not into the algebra portion, then don't do the algebra portion. Do the drawing. I'm going to do the algebra portion here on 8 one more time, and then we'll do the visual portion on 8 to show you that it's the same thing. So again, this is my midpoint x and my midpoint y, and they're giving me my endpoint. So I'm going to start with my x's first and see where we go from there. All right, so endpoint x is 5, so 5 plus I don't know divided by 2 is equal to my endpoint x, negative 1. Solve it by multiplying by 2, subtracting 5. That will give you your endpoint of negative 7. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for y. Let's do y in red. So I'm going to use my 3 and my 6. So my endpoint plus, I don't know my other endpoint, divided by 2 equals my midpoint. Multiply by 2. Subtract 6, that will give me y equals 0. Okay, let's look at this visually and see if we get the same answer. All right, so my midpoint is going to be negative 1, 3, and my endpoint here will be 5, 6. Okay, let's do it. First one, I'm going to do blue. Okay, going from this x to this x, I went down 6. So, going again from midpoint x to the final endpoint 6, I have to subtract 6. Negative 1 minus 6 gives me negative 7. We're going to do the same thing. Let's do light green. 6 to 3, I went down 3. 3 to my endpoint, I have to go down 3 again. 3 minus 3 is 0. Same answer, just different ways to do it. Alrighty. We're going to skip 9, 10, and 11. Don't worry about those. That is the end of this video. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Come see me at office